Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Becca with House of Lenormand and happy Hallows Eve. It is October 30th, the day before Halloween. And I wanted to take a moment to say hello and welcome to all of the new subscribers. Hi! Today I wanted to go ahead and do a grand tableau for Donald Trump to go from November through July of 2020. For those of you that are new to my channel, this is the grand tableau. This system or this spread is reserved for the Lenormand and Kipper, so you may not see this with tarot. I also use the housing system, which means each placement correlates to a house. The houses are fixed, they do not change. So here will be the first house of the Rider, the second house of the Clover, the third house of the Ship, the fourth house of the house, and so on and so forth through the entire tableau. That will allow me to follow the chain around the tableau and get a little bit more detail. You know, as we night and do all that stuff, I can also follow the chain, follow the chain of houses around and see where it's going. Like I said, this tableau was from November to July 2020. So this tableau is for Donald Trump. He's right here as the man. All this stuff up here is what is on his mind. He has no control over any of this stuff that's going on. It's kind of like weighing down on him. I had designated the woman to be Ivanka, but she's also representing as several other women as well. One thing to keep in mind, grand tableaus are multi-layered, so you kind of got to keep digging a little bit to get more information. I'll try to do that as best I can. I had designated the dog to be Rudy Giuliani. I had designated the child to be Junior, and the writer to be Kushner, and the bear to be William Barr. So I think I've covered it. Oh, and I don't know how long this is going to take me. Feel free to pause and come back later, or, you know, whatever suits you well, because I'm just going to go with it. I'm not going to piece this out. I'm just going to, you know, I might take breaks because my brain might get fried. But I will just keep plowing through it. My sister had gotten me pointers and I have misplaced them, so I'm back to using my little Sharpie. So, okay, so first off on the grand tableau, Donald Trump is way down here. All this stuff up here is what's on his mind. He has no control over any of this stuff. It's kind of just like weighing down on him, okay? The first three cards that opened up the read is the Tower in the House of Rider, Dog in the House of Clover, Letter in the House of Ship. This is Rudy Giuliani, an advisor that's a lawyer working on foreign policy on his behalf. That's the news that is coming in for this tableau. We can see here that they're investigating financial institutions and where the money, the financial gifts, the moneyed gifts are coming in from and where they're being transferred to. They're investigating that situation. They're investigating the transfers, they're investigating the income and outcome of money, how it's moving around, how they're moving money around, and it's linked to this guy and it's linked back to him. We can see here that there is a cloud over the family and a cloud over the White House. With the clouds over the house, this could be quite literally that a storm is brewing over the White House. There's a lot of big trouble in regards to the White House as well as his family and his properties. The house lands in the House of Tower. This could be in regards to the White House. This could also be in regards to buildings with residences that have his name on it that he's recognized for, that are in a lot of trouble. Down this column here, we're seeing that there's the foreign policy, and William Barr is arguing with a woman. There's the White House, as well as towers with his name on it. And then the policies that he's been writing with the help of Giuliani and William Barr in regards to foreign policy to secure him. He's got the anchor right below him. This is talking about security, stability, permanence, okay? So we can see here that William Barr and also perhaps other people that are in charge of their individual institutions, with the bear knighting over here to the tower. This would be like the CEO or the person that's in charge of that institution. So this could be William Barr, Pompeo, right here as well with this advisor. This would be perhaps Pence, as well as Mulvaney. Another person that's involved with money here, perhaps through the IRS, this could be Steve Mnuchin. But all of these people were involved with money, and money is being investigated, as well as his personal money and his banking and all that stuff is being investigated. Let me see here. If we look at the little box 9 around the house, we can see here that there's a woman that is in a position of authority. She is bringing the axe. She is in the house of Scythe. So this woman is looking to separate, and she has a very powerful argument. And she's very passionate about what she says, and she's very passionate about what she's speaking. So this could be the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, because she's got the tower right over her. And down this diagonal, we can see that she's in the House, in government. So we can also see here that this woman is quite possibly not only Ivanka Trump, but also Nancy Pelosi. There's also a woman here that's perhaps in the government that is some sort of an investigator. She could be in some sort of law enforcement as well, that is looking into his family and perhaps buildings that have his name on it. So this could also be Letitia James. Here we're seeing that his reputation, his career in the House ends. This is my column for December. Okay. In his original grand tableau that we had done in May, I believe it was in May, I went from May through December. It showed an ending for him in December. Here it's showing an ending in the column of December that has to do with the House. If we look down this column here, he still has the House really, really close by. It's right above him, and he's got the anchor right below him. So it's like he may feel that he's secure, or he's really, really worried about the trouble that his administration is in and how he can go about securing himself and staying permanently, okay, or finishing out his term, reaching his goal. However, the anchor goes back to the key. Let's look at what's around the key. If this is in regards to his stability, it gets cut off here with the scythe right under it. And there is significant burdens and a serious trial, guilt here. So there's a separation there. Also, the key goes back to the coffin. So he's quite worried about the cloud that's hanging over him, his administration, his family, his businesses, perhaps personal property that he's recognized for, all the investigations that are going in around his personal properties and his financing here, financial agreements, financial promises. That comes to an end. Either it could be both that his properties are shut down and that his position in the White House ends, because there's a significant ending here. He doesn't have stability. Okay. Let me see what else. Let's look at his career, his reputation, and his finances here. So we can see, if we look around the moon, that they're investigating his career in the White House. They're also investigating perhaps his personal properties that have his name on it that he's recognized for. They're looking at the money that he's making here, financial gifts that are coming in this way, money from Russia that's coming in this way, and money that is being transferred, moved out, with the storks in the House of Book. The money that's being moved out is being done in secret, but that gets exposed. There is a fraudulent power here, and he is a con man. The properties are fraudulent. We know that. And it may also be saying that he eventually becomes recognized as a fraudulent businessman. Let me see here. Let's look around the bear. Here's Rudy Giuliani doing foreign policy. That's really, and not just Rudy Giuliani, there's other advisors here within the government, as well as people that are heading their certain institutions. Pompeo, Pence, not Pence, this would be more like Pence, but Pompeo, Mulvaney here, Barr here, what's his name? The VP, what's his name? I know Johnny calls him penitentiary. What's his name? Why can't I think of it right now? Mike Pence here. And all their involvement, the agreements that they made, the promises that he made with these people for foreign policy. We're seeing a promise here. There's a verbal promise here and a promise that was made to someone that is symbolized by the bear. That is quite aggressive and quite dangerous. In the transfer of financial gifts here. This person was looking to, if this is symbolizing Russia, they were looking to alleviate obstacles here and here. That may have been the verbal promise that was made from him through the White House with all of these other people involved as well, to relieve the obstacles, the moneyed obstacles, and give them a clear. We can see that that has not been resolved with the mountain down this row here with the whip. It's an ongoing problem. Another thing to note very, very quickly that I forgot to point out, the tree lands in its own house, the snake lines in its own house. This can mean that there's something seriously, seriously wrong with his health. It could also be something that has to do with his legacy of a betrayal, of lies, deceits, and betrayal. Those are two big themes in his tableau, since those two are in their own homes, in their own houses. But like I said, there's a cloud that's hanging over his family, his properties, and his administration. It's big trouble. The clouds is the king of clubs. It's the most negative card in the entire system. It's actually more negative than the coffin. It's way worse than the coffin. We can see here that Rudy Giuliani is about to head into some serious trouble. Whatever he lies about gets exposed, and it brings an ending. He is going to have to talk. However, the birds is way down here. How he talks is through this person. This is Junior. Junior links back to Giuliani. So let's look at Junior really quick. There is either a meeting or a phone call that he had with Junior. Okay, or this could be a pair of children. This is my card for Kushner. That's who I designated as Kushner. So there's a possibility that both of these kids were involved, or he had a phone call or a meeting with Giuliani. So let's follow the child around. The child, which is Junior, is in the house of the cross. The cross is in the house of dog, which is Giuliani. Giuliani goes back to the clover, which goes back to the mountain, which goes back to the child. Because the mountain is in this chain, I would say that Junior is trying to separate himself from Giuliani, not only because the mountain is there, but also by using the rule of near and far. Junior's down here, Giuliani's way up there. They're quite distanced from themselves within the grand tableau. And then we have the mountain right in the middle of that chain. So he may try to distance himself. However, there looks to be evidence that exposes the lie and puts this kid in jeopardy. Let me see. That brings an ending here to him as well. So, like I said, this could be him ending his career in the White House ends, and there's a loss in the family as well, or properties that get shut down. This could be. I mean, I'm going to err on the side of caution again, but this could be a death in the family or property that gets shut down, or, you know, the end of his career in the White House. Perhaps Trump Towers or other residences get foreclosed. But Junior's involved with Giuliani, even though he may be trying to distance himself, not only, like I said, not only through near and far in the tableau, but also because the mountain is in that chain. For Giuliani, we have Giuliani. He goes to the clovers. From the clovers to the bouquet, or I'm sorry, to the mountain to the child, to the cross, and then to the moon. So it looks like both of these, Giuliani and Junior, are going to have a problem, because it looks like Giuliani's up here, Junior's down here. He is above Junior. Okay, when this guy realizes that, and this showed up in Giuliani's grand tableau as well, when he realizes that nobody's coming to help him, he's going to flip. He's going to betray and just spill the beans on everybody, and that's where he spills the beans on Junior. He's in trouble. This kid's in trouble. He may try to deny it, but it looks like they find evidence. They find evidence of him and Junior. Okay, so sorry I'm bouncing around all over this thing. I'm just, just kind of going with it. Let's take a look at William Barr. There's Giuliani, Barr, boom, and end. Giuliani doing shady foreign policy over here. That's putting a cloud over the White House and the entire administration, everybody associated with the administration that took part in it. Here's Nancy Pelosi bringing an axe, and what's his face, Barr, arguing quite passionately. He's arguing with a woman, or he's arguing about a woman, and here's the career in the administration comes to an end. Also to note, for this person using the rule of near and far as well, if this is Barr, he's got the Justice Department behind him. Okay, it's like he's moving away from it. If this is Pompeo, there's also some sort of, it's not immediate separation, even though this woman is right here and she has the scythe, which is something that cuts. It looks like this woman here is going to be standing between these people and their respective institutions. Okay, so she's going to be a lot of trouble for all of the players involved, and she's in the House. So this is Nancy Pelosi, I'm assuming. It could also be other women that are, another woman that's quite significant that's in government. But just for that rule, he's got it behind him, even though he's over the House here, which is their roles within the administration. That's coming to an end. As Barr's line moves this way, whether this is Barr, Pompeo, what's his name? Putin. As time moves forward this way, there's big trouble ahead. There's either Barr, he gets delayed and separated here, like some sort of, he's remote right here. And then there's a trip that gets canceled, or if he tries to go somewhere, it gets canceled. Okay, and that could be all of them. That could be Pompeo, that could be Barr, or anyone else that's presented by the bear. For the other advisors that are here, they're in a world of trouble. They are in a world of trouble. If this is Giuliani, world of trouble. If this is Mulvaney or Munchkin, whatever his name is, they're heading into some serious trouble because of what they did in regards to foreign policy. If this is in regards to Mnuchin, there's some fraud going on there, and he may also be investigated with his role that they were doing here, manipulating something within a financial institution with the help of someone in a position of authority, with the fox knighting over here to the bear. So he's in trouble as well. That gets revealed, but there's huge trouble for lies, deceit, betrayal for these people here. Whether it's, like I said, Pence, Giuliani, Mulvaney, Munchkin, they're all in trouble. For Barr, he's looking like he's quite ill. Please refer to his grand tableau. That shows up in his grand tableau. He's got the coffin right under him, and he's got the tree right over him with the clouds right before it. There's some serious issues going on with his health that's spreading. So please refer to his grand tableau because it's showing up here as well. Now, for the ending, the obstacles come to an end for him. Barr suffers some sort of a loss in public, or this could, I mean, it could quite literally be a cemetery. There's a funeral and a public loss that shows up in his original grand tableau in that I did back in May. There's like a funeral or something going on. And then there's some sort of an argument here with the woman or something repetitive that is going on with the woman, some sort of an abuse. Let's see here. The administration comes to an end, and then there is some sort, it's like a small win. There's a small win here. He feels, this person here, Trump, feels like he has a really good argument with Pelosi. If this is the vote that's taking place in the Senate, because this is December, we're seeing a loss here in December. And here's a small win in a large group of people. I'm hesitant to say that this is the Senate because the Lilies is quite far. I mean, it goes down the diagonal, but it looks like if this could be read a couple of ways. He's done by December, okay? So it clears up for the next election, okay? Here. This could also be that he's gambling with the man knighting over to the clovers and down here to the birds. It looks like he feels, he may think, because this is above him, he may think he's going to take the gamble in the Senate for the vote that's going to work out in his favor. Let's look at the vote. The vote here, not good, not good. News of a separation coming in here. And then we have the sun in the house of heart. This could be a good choice. However, because it's surrounded by very negative cards, one negative card, another negative card, and another negative card, there's more negatives around this vote than there is positive. Because we have one neutral, one neutral, one neutral, 2 positives, 3 negatives. It's like a toss-up, but it looks like it doesn't work in his favor if this is the vote in the Senate. Remember, this is November, December, okay? So he may be, his strategy, because with the fox back here, his strategy will be to talk to the Senate with the birds knighting over here, make a lot of verbal promises, perhaps have a lot of arguments. He believes that he's going to take the risk with good arguments with the Senate and that they will defend him. They promise, a promise here to defend, a promise to argue. However, as time moves down this way, look at that. Corruption and a trial, corruption and guilt, corruption and a sacrifice. The choice that is made is to separate, news of a separation. The vote may be in secret, and he is guilty. He's found guilty. There's something foreign going on overseas that's corrupt. The news that has come out of the corruption and the guilt, it's too much. They can't stick with him. That's why we're seeing an end here. And the security that he's risking comes to an end. It doesn't work out for him that way. That's why, quite possibly, why his original tableau shows an ending in December, and quite possibly while we're seeing it again here. Okay, so that could be his strategy and what he's thinking about. He's also quite possibly thinking about the obstructions or the delays that he's placed as a risky opportunity, and just keep repeating those obstacles as a way to get away from it here, to run away from the problems that he's facing. But then again, that's a very bad choice, because it leads to anxiety over guilt. It leads to a lot of corruption and guilt, criminality that is put on trial, criminality, and then he's sacrificed. The cross lands back in the house of the moon. This is your career, your reputation, how other people see you. It's burned, it's done, it's denied. So I would just like everybody to calm down, you know, because like we keep hearing all this stuff on the news that the Senate, don't worry about that. Because he's banking on the wrong stuff. Okay. He thinks that they're going to stand with him. They don't. The more people, these people back here that get exposed, the Mulvaney's, the Pence's, the Pompeo's, the Barrs, the investigations into all of the institutions and the people that were heading those institutions, their obstructions and delays, what they've been trying to keep secret, comes out, and it delivers a sudden blow to his success. And that's where the lies, deceits, and betrayals become exposed. He's hung. He's just done. He's done. So moving forward in time, so if we're seeing an ending here in December, okay, and like I said, it's kind of hard for me to tell if these are all lining up exactly, like November, December, January, February, March, April. Well, my intention was to go out to July. So this could be December in a couple of months, December in a couple of weeks, January in a couple of weeks, so on and so forth down the line, for stuff to pan out. So we can see as time moves forward for him, okay, besides his career in the White House ending and the possibility, a very strong possibility of perhaps foreclosures to properties, it looks like as time moves forward this way, there's going to be news coming in of some sort of abusive relationship here. This could be also about some sort of news in his connection or his promise to a sex ring here. Okay, that had to do with a person that he had been distanced, a friendship, that a friend of the family's that has been distanced over time. Okay, if we're looking at the rule of near and far in the tableau, these two are far from each other. They're not necessarily close. This is signaling a friendship that has been lost over time. Okay, distanced over time. They may find, as these investigations continue, even though this person is no longer with us, or so they say, those investigations are still ongoing. And the Fox Knights over here to him, they're still investigating him. There may be news coming in about his involvement with that guy, Epstein. Okay, and here is the transferring of young girls with the bouquet and the storks. The bouquet lands in the House of Ring, which is his contracts to young girls. This could also be sexual abuse here. So that there may be more news coming in as time moves forward from November through July of his involvement with Epstein, as well as his involvement with the sexual abuse of young girls that were being transferred, leaving and returning, quite possibly runaways here as well, with the writer coming in. And then we're seeing a lot of guilt and anxiety. Like, as time moves forward for him from now through July, it's just, there's no solutions to his problems. He's going to be crapping his pants here. He may be trying to figure out a way to run away with the writer right here, but it looks like he's just unable to. That trip is burdened, and it could be because of properties that get shut down, and the avenues that he had, or the partnerships that he had for money to come in and be transferred through his properties. Well, if those are shut down, where's his money? See what I'm saying? So, and then again, Junior's in big trouble here. Kushner is in big trouble. This is Jared Kushner. Kushner lands back in the house of lilies. Lilies goes back to the fish. That goes back to the clovers. I'm sorry, to the bouquet. That goes to the ring. That goes to Trump. That goes to... Hold on. Let me follow that chain around so I don't lose you guys. Okay. I have everything written down here on my notes. This is how I do my tableaus, as you can see here. Just so I can follow the chain of houses and stuff. And I'm sorry I didn't set this up on my table. I just didn't want to take out the table and set up. I didn't want to do it. So let's look at Junior. Let's follow his chain. Oh, not Junior. Sorry. Kushner. Kushner goes to the lilies. The lilies goes to the fish. The fish goes to the bouquet. The bouquet goes to the ring. The ring goes to the man. The man goes to the letter. That goes back to the ship. That goes to the bear. That goes to the whip. That goes to the woman. That goes to the scythe. That goes to the stars, the clouds, the house, the tower, and then back to him. So, Kushner has been working with, this person. He's been working with this person, delivering messages, perhaps communicating over the phone, making verbal promises here. This is usually MBS, but the house is quite far, but it does night over here. A royal family. The tree is quite far, but the tree is far. This is usually, he's supposed to be delivering peace, and he could, through conversations, but it looks like he's also involved with, quite possibly MBS for financial gifts, briberies, that have been promised to DJT in exchange for foreign, policy that involves, what's his face? William Barr somehow, or perhaps Russia as well. And then there's some sort of an argument or criticism or abuse towards a woman or about a woman. And then we can see here that he's cut off, or he's in danger. It's something that happens very suddenly, very swiftly. And then there's no success for him. It's like he doesn't achieve his hopes, wishes, dreams, desires, his goals. It doesn't happen for him. And there's something peculiar going on with either an apartment building or a townhouse or condos. It's a building that has a lot of residences, and it's also how he's linked to the administration. So it's kind of like, you know, they're all, he's stealing and he's guilty, okay? If we read it quite simply like that, Kushner steals or takes away or thieves, and then he's guilty, okay? It looks like he's been conversing with Junior as well. Phone calls with Junior, talking with Junior, perhaps planning out how they're going to get the funds. But the funds are coming in from overseas, and it looks like some sort of a financial gift that was made to him for a building that had a lot of properties. Or yeah, a building that had a lot of properties, like condos, townhomes, whatever. And we already know that he did get funding for that, but there was an exchange with the bouquet. There was an exchange for foreign policy. So it's kind of like another quid pro quo with Kushner as well. That looks like that gets exposed. But it looks like it might take a little bit of time because he lands on the House of Lilies. So I don't know if this happens in the winter because of the lilies, or if it's going to drag on, because down this line he has the mice, which is, for timing, it's something that happens quite quickly, but it's usually less than a month. But then he's got the cross right after that. Now the cross is quite, it's got some anomalies when it comes to timing, because if it's something like, if you are under a ridiculous amount of stress, then it acts quite quickly. If it's not something that is like a life and death situation, it drags on. Okay, so I don't know if this is resolved in a few months, or that's when they start investigating him for his ties and his kickbacks and his quid pro quo for his own financial benefit. If that gets resolved quickly, or if it's something that drags on and he has legal issues moving forward. Either way, he's heading into a trial here. Heading into a trial, some pain, some guilt, a sacrifice. It doesn't look good for this guy. And him either. These two have been paired in some sort of a verbal agreement, perhaps through some sort of a back channel here. How they've set up back channels here for money to be kicked in through the properties. So it looks like he worked with MBS, this guy, and then him and Kushner and Junior perhaps worked together to see how Giuliani was going to get stuff for them as well. For Ivanka Trump, if we read her as Ivanka Trump, besides quite possibly Letitia James and Pelosi, if this is Ivanka, she's up here above her father, and she is above Kushner and Junior. This is also a woman that's looking at a lot of money, financing. She's got a crap ton of money, and this could also be in regards to a woman that has a lot of money and is a mother, because she has the bear right after her. She's heading into some difficulties, perhaps some sort of delays here. And then there's, the secret investigations that are going on about transfers that get revealed, and a lot of stuff that was going on overseas. Her grand tableau shows that she's also been involved with election interference, as well as these two here, because here's the elections. Kushner's involved through conversations for the elections, perhaps hacking of elections when they get the money through properties, tit for tat, quid pro quo, help us win the elections, and we'll help you with money, all that stuff. And this guy's involved too, because he knights over here. So he was involved as well. So Kushner, Junior, Ivanka, Giuliani, everybody within the administration, Pompeo, Pence, Barr, Mulvaney, Mnuchin. Mnuchin looks like he was more involved with manipulating money, or manipulating where it's going to, or hiding it like it's a trap, you know. But that's what that looks like here. But down her line, there's a trip that gets canceled for her as well. She's under a lot of trouble here with the woman knighting over to the mountain, or to the clouds, and the clouds is right over on the House of House. She is she's got a cloud over her head too, in her family, as well as perhaps her position in the government as part of the administration as an advisor here, and a promise that she's made to her father. Also Melania as well. She is the woman that he's married to down this line. She's under a bit of worry, not worry, but like confusion and big trouble. She's got the whole family and the entire administration has a big storm brewing, and there's a lot of trouble, a lot of confusion, hesitation, doubt, just big trouble around the family, the properties, the businesses, the relationships, everything. And she's also looking at an ending here, a loss, some sort of really important loss. The coffin is on the House of Garden. This could be that she's going to be facing some serious legal problems here in regards to perhaps something that happened. This could be some sort of a Trump Tower. I don't know if this would be Soho or whatever, but there's an organization that gets shut down here. If it was some sort of a charitable organization, it's shut down. And it looks like that organization, there's multiples of them. And there's a lot of corruption and thievery. Here's Kushner, here's Junior, stuff that was coming in from overseas that was causing a lot of problems. This could be people from overseas, and something as benign as sex with women, with the whip landing in the House of Women, overseas sex with women, overseas trafficking women here. We're seeing that there's something going on in this organization, this club. There's memberships here. Her father is part of a membership, or he's the one that gives out memberships to that organization. There's a block here to this organization, and there's thievery, criminality here that gets exposed, and that goes to trial. But there's multiple organizations here that get exposed, and it has to do perhaps trafficking women here. And then Kushner here, trafficking or arguing, Kushner, and then corruption. And like I said earlier, sex ring, a ring of sex here. So it looks like the verbal promise that was made to Russia to lift the sanctions. But as time moves forward this way, if this is the Trump org, that's in trouble for trafficking, thievery, a secret investigation for foreign people to come in and investigate elections here for the opponents, to have a good argument here, because this is someone that thinks that they have an advantage in an argument. This is a verbal debate, fighting verbally. Okay, so we can see here that whole situation with the investigation into the Bidens, as well as perhaps all of the political opponents here, political competition for the upcoming elections next year, so that this guy can have an advantage and have a good argument against those people, dig up dirt, investigate in secret from overseas. Kushner and Junior were involved in that as well. He was having conversations with Giuliani. There may be some sort of 876. Something on a piece of technology. I don't know if this would be on a phone. a thumb drive, something. But see, the birds is down here and the stars is up there. These were closer, I could say, like a cell phone. So, but the key's right next to it. So this could be like something like a thumb drive, or it's something on a piece of technology that exposes a conversation with this guy, even though they may appear to not be connected. They're connected. So he looks like he had Kushner and Jr. working on his behalf, as well as her, to dig up dirt on elections. But like I said, as time moves forward this way, he's in a world of trouble. He's moving into, if he thinks he has a good argument here, and as well as he's going to bank on the Senate to take his side, that doesn't work out for him. And he's moving into a trial for corruption. And like I said, the government is up here. Okay, the courts, the government, the courts, it's up here. It's below him. He's not necessarily, he doesn't have an advantage. He may believe that he can take a risk and win, but it's bad. Let me take a break and I'll be right back. I'm back. So if we look at the corners here, we have the tower, the key, the cross, and the bouquet. This could be talking about that the courts and the government has evidence of his guilt. He may be looking for some sort of forgiveness or some sort of offer or some sort of a quite possibly mercy and pardon, which could come from this person, the VP, because this person is closest to the institution that he is. Okay. That might be an offer that comes in for something that has to do with his health, because the tree is very significant in his tableau because it lands in his own house. If that offer does come in and he takes it, it's false. Because he's still, if this is the big courts, he still has all this trouble that he's heading into down here. So he might ask this person to alleviate the guilt, forgive him here with this corner here and this one as a pardon, but he's still heading into a world of trouble here. Barr is ahead of him or above him, so perhaps he feels or he thinks that Barr is willing to take a risk and perhaps offer some sort of protection to him and his family at the lower levels, perhaps through SDNY. However, that assistance is far. And that comes to an end here as well. Another thing that I found interesting, the bear is someone in a position of authority, the boss, okay? He is over the house, which is him and his family, his properties. This could be somebody that has ownership, and it's not a bank. It's a very powerful individual that's it's kind of like he's the boss of an organization or a group or some sort of not a group, but he has some sort of an agreement here with this boss, okay? And this person perhaps has ownership of the family or the properties. This person's a lot of trouble. They're big trouble, and their reputation or who they are, how he's recognized, may become exposed when all the money stuff gets exposed and they see the promises and the contracts that he's in financially, with the bear knighting over here. So if this is not Russia, it's somebody else, but they're the big boss, okay? This person has been transferring stuff in secret, or he has been transferring stuff to him in secret that, you know, is being investigated to see where the transfers are coming in from, and that's how this person gets exposed. This person here may have put an end to this guy who is a friend that had been distanced over time, that had to do with young girls. There was a lot of stuff going on with money here, a sex ring, all that stuff. This person, since this person is the boss, he may have had something to do with the ending that guy. Let me see here. Yeah, this guy's big trouble. And he puts women in danger for sex, abuse, it's like he's the boss of the house that has to do with women that are in there for sex. Okay, I'm just going to leave that there. I don't want to get into that. Let's look at the secrets here. There's secrets that come out this way in regards to fraudulent stuff around the elections. There's betrayals and lies and deceits that were being done in secret that got exposed. Whatever obstacles they were placing as a way to delay and stall and obstruct, those don't stick. They come out to the public here. And then there's that secret server where they have been abusing, and it's got Kushner and Junior in there somehow. Kushner, and I would refer you to Kushner's grand tableau. He's linked to the dismemberment of Khashoggi. He was the go-between between DJT and MBS. So I would refer you back to that tableau, but he's in the know about the dismemberment of Khashoggi. He's in the know about the dismemberment of Khashoggi, and there's a conversation in that server in regards to that. So please go revisit that tableau. For those of you that are new, it's titled Kushner GT. There's something pretty important going on here with an overseas country that's been quite abusive, and they've been doing it for a long time. This is overseas aggression as well. Let me see. Let's look at the garden here. The garden, if we read this as an organization, there's multiples of them, multiple organizations that are open here, or multiple organizations that provide a channel for foreign influence to come in for corruption here. The corruption is chronic, and there's news of that coming out to the public that has been kept secret within this organization, but there's more than one. So I don't know if this is Mar-a-Lago or if this is other golf courses or other places that he has that are overseas, that have been being abused here for purposes of criminality and thievery. It's like this is a remote area. I don't know if this is like off on an island somewhere with the mountain and the garden, and then over here to the ship. I don't know if this is like some sort of island somewhere overseas or far away that's hard to get to. But there's news coming in about that as well. It's like there's multiple organizations here, either overseas or that have been trafficking in from overseas for the purposes of criminality and corruption. There's that sex ring again with young girls, and news coming in about that. But either way, he's heading to trial either way. And this may be something that he's stuck in for a long time. Now, for this line of fate here, there may be something going on that perhaps may start around the winter in regards to Junior, but it may take about a year or so with him, because this is a long time. This is 1 year minimum. This is the winter or a long time. This is December, and then for the child, it's 1 year. So there, it looks like Junior may be on trial for a long time, maybe like something around a year or so, or perhaps it's just talking about the next year, after December. But he's going to be sacrificed. Junior, this person here is going to be sacrificed. There's a pair of kids here that are going to be sacrificed, so quite possibly Junior and Kushner. I don't know where Eric is in this reading, or this could be both of them, Junior and Eric, and then Kushner here. But there's a child that's going to be sacrificed, or a child that's carrying the burden, or the child that's going to take the fall and the punishment for him. What is in the house of child? The mountain. Yeah. The child is, he's between a rock and a hard place, literally. Let's look at the mountain here. Okay, so big trouble, obstruction, and then it goes to the public. Big trouble with the family, obstruction or delaying a child, and then multiple organizations here. A conversation that has to do with love or generosity, but that comes to an end. It's like the end of love in the family, the end of, I mean, it's like big trouble in the family, and there's no love there, or a very serious loss in the family. I don't know if this is a death in the family, an illness in the family, property's getting shut down, his career in the government ending. It could be all of that. There's something wrong with his health, quite possibly that has to do with the head, with the mountain being right under the tree. That becomes public here, and it may have something to do with quite possibly uppers, drug use, like something that would be an upper. And here's the secret server that has been delayed and obstructed, but it comes out. Now, whether that is going to, all of it, be revealed to the public, I'm not sure. Here it's saying that it gets revealed, but it looks like they hold some stuff back, with the garden being in the house of Crossroads, and the Crossroads being in the house of mice. It looks like they hold some stuff back, perhaps for national security. Let me see. If this is in regards to his rallies that he has, you know, a big group of people that meet to congregate, there's a loss there, because here's the money, okay? Money gets delayed and blocked here. If this is the rallies that he's going to, that he's visiting, where people come to visit at the rallies, there's something that needs to be investigated for there. And it may happen once he leaves, because it goes back to the Storks, and the Storks goes back to the book. So perhaps once he leaves, they're going to maybe open up more investigations as to perhaps monies that is owed for these rallies. Because there's a loss here. There's a loss to the community here. Like they've stolen from the community here, and there needs to be a way to recuperate those funds, and that may also go to trial here. But it looks like his legal problems are going to be not only in his association for the conspiracy and all that other stuff that was going on, but it's big financial problems here. And if this is, as we move forward in time, once he leaves, there may be investigations into his rallies and the losses that the communities have had for him to make a public appearance there for the elections, with the mice being in the house of sun, and the, what is it, the cross being back in the house of moon. So it's kind of like, if this is in regards to the rallies that he's been having, and just kind of leaving the rallies for the elections to make an appearance to be, I don't know, people to freaking fall over themselves for him, his crowd of crazies. He's stolen from that community here and here. There's those communities have experienced a loss. And that might be part of the arguments that are being brought forth. News of arguments, litigation here for a promise that he made, and these communities have lost. Where is the house of fish? Down here. Yeah, that may take a little bit. That might be litigated for a while, but it looks like it may start once he's gone, where people are going to try to get their money back for the rallies and the losses to those communities. Let me see. Okay, so I just want to go over a couple of chain of houses, and I think I'll wrap that up because I think we're like at an hour or so. I wanted to know election hacking here overseas, from overseas. Okay, so let's go ahead and follow the bear around. The bear goes to the whip, that goes to the woman, that goes to the scythe, that goes to the stars, that goes to the clouds, that goes back to the house, that goes to the tower, that goes to the writer, that goes to the lilies, that goes to the fish, to the bouquet, to the ring, to the man, to the letter, to the ship, and then back over here to the bear. So like I said earlier, this bear could be, because these grand tableaus are multi-layered, this could be William Barr, this could be Pompeo, this could be Putin, this could be Putin's boss. It's somebody at the very, very top of that whole scheme. And it looks like this person is maybe arguing or perhaps attacking a woman that is bringing forward a separation, because it's like once all of that got exposed, it has seriously put a dark cloud over the family and the administration, and there's news coming in to the government about serious legal problems that have to do with something that happened in the past for bribery and DJT's agreement in regards to foreign policy and that person's involvement with it. So, like I said, Pompeo, Barr, Russia, or that other person that's involved, that's the big boss of the whole crime spree. Let's take a look at, we're going to follow the woman's chain of houses around. So, we have the woman. She goes to the scythe goes to the clouds, or to the star, that goes to the clouds, that goes back to the house. That goes to the tower, that goes to the writer. That goes to the lilies, back to the fish. That goes to the ring, that goes to the man, that goes to the letter, that goes to the ship, that goes to the bear, that goes to the whip, and then goes back to her. So this could be, if it's Nancy Pelosi, it could be Nancy Pelosi bringing forward the news of separating him from the government, articles to separate, for a excuse me, hold on, sorry about that, I've been talking for a while, I needed to take a drink of water. So this could be Nancy Pelosi bringing forward articles of impeachment. It's really putting a huge damper and a lot of trouble. It's causing huge trouble for the administration, the family, the properties, because of the briberies that were made and the promises that DJT has made to, in exchange for foreign policy that favors him. So that's what she's arguing. It could also be his daughter, Ivanka, that's involved as well in financial kickbacks from using her position in authority as some sort of a senior person in the government that has been profiting through briberies in exchange for foreign policy. Okay, so that could be those two people. Let's take a look at the writer. So the writer goes to the lilies, that goes to the fish, that goes to the bouquet, that goes to the ring, that goes to the man, that goes to the letter, that goes to the ship, that goes to the bear, that goes to the whip, that goes to the woman, that goes to the scythe, that goes to the stars, the clouds, the house, the tower, and then the writer again. So that's that entire chain. So there's news coming in about bribery and promises or agreements that he's made for foreign policy. The woman that is bringing forward news of separating him from the government, that's causing a huge amount of trouble to him, his family, and the current administration. And there's serious legal issues for them in the government as well as in the courts. Let's follow the fish around, which is our money card. Actually, before we do that, I want to take a look at the fish. The fish knight's over here to the letter. Okay, the letter is in the house of ship. The fish is in the house of bouquet. There's bribery coming in from overseas. Bribery and foreign policy, either money coming in for foreign policy, money that he's making for foreign policy to change foreign policy in their favor in exchange for personal gifts of money to him and his family, okay, through properties. And there's the exchange of financial gifts there. It's being transferred. So more quid pro quo, but not only on the we're blocking money for aid, it's also quid pro quo as in, all right, foreign policy for you, just, deposit the money into my businesses. Okay, so let's follow that fish around. So the fish goes to the bouquet, that goes to the ring, that goes to the man, that goes to the letter, that goes to the ship, that goes to the bear, that goes to the whip, the woman, the scythe, the stars, the clouds, the house, the tower, the writer, the lilies, and then back to the ship. So that's exactly what we just talked about. That is briberies for profit for the family through personal properties. It's like the money is being exchanged and deposited into him personally, as well as quite possibly that person as well. He's making money off of this too, for them to write foreign policy in their favor. But the money's coming in through properties, and that had showed up in Jared Kushner's grand tableau. I think in Donald Trump's original grand tableau. I mean, that's just been a theme that has been going on for a very, very, very long time. And also on his original grand tableau that we did back in May, showed it showed the quid pro quo and the money coming in through his personal properties. But on the articles of impeachment, it showed violations to the emoluments clause. So if you're new and you just want, if you have the time and you're interested, I would suggest to go watch the Kushner's grand tableau and all of Donald Trump's grand tableaus, because those I had broken up into several videos. Okay, so let's follow the letter around now. So we have the letter that goes to the ship, that goes to the bear, the whip, the woman, the scythe, the stars, the clouds, the house, the tower, the writer, the lilies, the fish, the bouquet, the ring, the man, the letter, and yeah, and then it ends on the letter. So again, foreign policy in exchange for personal profit. And Barr's involved in that. Also, foreign power is involved with that. And that's bringing in a huge, I mean, it's like they tried to cover it up with the clouds up here and then down here, but it gets resolved. Whatever he's been covering up, it gets resolved. It's taking a long time. It may all completely come to the surface come December. This is our column for December. Here's the resolution to the problem that took a long time in the winter. Okay, so let's see how that develops as we move forward into December, because this is showing the possibility of all of the stuff that they've covered up and delayed gets ousted in December. For his taxes, if this is the IRS here, and this would be his taxes, it's being investigated. And like I had said earlier in this reading, were the bribes, the contracts, the partnerships, perhaps the co-signers are coming in for that whole portion of it. On his original grand tableau, it did show that the taxes do come out, but it took a very long time. It's like towards the end of the year, which is basically where we're at now. So, you know, and we all know his tactic has been to delay. Well, if he's been trying to delay, it comes out here and it comes out here, but then it's like he litigates, he fights it again, and then we're back there. But it looks like the delays are this time once we get to December. If this is January, if he tries to repeat it, keep repeating the arguments to keep them buried and hidden from coming out, it looks like it just doesn't stick. It comes out. There's like a small window of opportunity, a lucky risk, a lucky gamble that happens there. It's a bad argument on his part. So we've already covered the book. The book goes to the fox, that goes to the, what do you call it? The storks, that goes back to the book. That's a very short chain. That's talking about secret or a secret investigation and a transfer of some sort, or transfer or an upgrade or a change. A secret investigation that gets exposed. This could be talking about secretly investigating the investigators, repeating the cycle here again. But it's like it doesn't go anywhere. It just keeps looping over and over and over again. And the resolution is that there's nothing there. The fox is in that chain, so that that chain would be the fox, the storks, the book, the fox. So that's investigating the investigators, repeating it over and over again. It doesn't go anywhere. For the garden, the organizations, perhaps if this is Trump Soho, if this is his parks that he has, perhaps the rallies that he's been having, that he's just been running away and not paying his bills, and the communities are suffering a loss here. Let's take a look at that. So the garden goes to the crossroads, which goes to the mice, which goes to the sun, which goes back to the heart, which goes to the birds, which goes back to the anchor, which goes to the coffin, which goes to the garden again. So it looks like the rallies or the organizations. Okay, let's just go with rallies. The rallies that he's been having, that has been in several communities that have been experiencing a significant loss because of thievery. Like, we're just going to show up and promise you something and we're just not going to follow through. We're going to bail. It looks like there is going to be a period of time before that gets resolved. Because it's like multiple organizations or multiple parties that he's been going to speak for recognition, and he's been doing it for a long time, and he keeps doing it over and over again, and then he like bails and he doesn't do anything. It appears that for that to be resolved, it's going to take some time, but the losses may be recuperated. It's just going to take a little bit of time. And like I had said earlier in this reading, it looks like once he goes away is when all of that starts. And then there's going to be investigations around the rallies, who was in charge, who owns the bills. There may be litigation towards the, perhaps this could be his campaign, where a large group of people were working together for the elections here for exposure, where they go in to talk and speak. There may be some litigation there as time moves ahead into next year to recuperate those funds that are missing because the communities are at a loss. Let me see. And there's also the possibility that if this is in regards to other organizations besides his rallies that he has, there is the possibility that some of those organizations, whether they're parks, Trump org, whatever it is, those may be experiencing an ending or a shutdown as well. As far as, I know you guys are going to ask me for a government shutdown. If this is a shutdown where something is closed off, this is the government way up there. I'm not sure about that. However, here's the White House, there's a shutdown. So this could mean that as another strategy, once he sees this argument that he's banking on the Senate to vote his way, there is the possibility here with the, what do you call this? The clover, as a way to delay it even further. He may try to shut it down here. Even though this would be like the White House, okay, and the government's way up there, he may try to use his position in the government as the head of the government to shut it down as a risk or a gamble to delay this from moving forward. But it doesn't work. You know, it could just cause more pain and suffering here to communities, okay, down this way. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But it looks like like I said earlier, you know, all the foreign policy stuff and working with William Barr and arguing with the woman and his position in the White House, his career in the government coming to an end, perhaps his properties and towers and stuff getting shut down. Once he realizes the liability that he's in, because he's a freaking crazy person, he may try this. Okay, that possibility is there. If he tries this, he may receive some sort of a warning. Even though the scythe is far, far, far away from him, way over here, it lands in the house of stars. And the stars is in the house of clouds. Okay, so he may receive a warning that, hey, if you do this, that's only going to be worse for you. You know, and it's going to put you at a loss. Either way, he's facing a loss this way. Let's just hope that this is in regards to shutting down his properties and his career in the White House being over, and him not shutting down the government as retaliation to delay, to repeat this delay here once he sees that things are moving forward. Either way, he can't stop it. He may try to keep fighting it and delaying and delaying and delaying. But as he moves this way, like I said, he's just in a world of trouble, and here's an ending, and here's everything that comes out. It's like, this is a bad card, and then you have positive, positive, neutral, positive. Okay, so it doesn't work. And then this way, if he tries to repeat those obstacles again, to keep creating obstacles and delays for his ousting here, it puts an end to him. He's got the... it just puts another nail in the coffin with the anchor going back to the key and the key going back to the, what do you call this? The coffin. It's another nail in the coffin, but he's just too stupid to realize that. Let's follow the key around. The key goes to the coffin, that goes to the garden, that goes to the crossroads, that goes to the mice. that goes to the sun, the heart, the birds, the anchor, and then back to the key. So there's something really, really, really significant that's going to end. There's something around several communities, or perhaps several rallies, or perhaps the country's election. There's something that's being stolen or taken away. Thievery that gets exposed, corruption that gets exposed, and more hearings, and those hearings look like they're ongoing. Okay, and the more that comes out, the more it buries him here with the anchor, the more it sinks him. Okay, the anchor is something that's persistent. It's reaching your goal, and it's also a card that has a lot of depth. Okay, so like going down. So the more that people come out to speak, the more it sinks him. And like I said, there's that possibility there that he may try to shut this down as a way to stop it, but it keeps going. It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop, and it just puts another nail in the coffin. Let's follow the bouquet around. So we have the bouquet, which is gifts, happiness, and joy. Okay, that goes to the ring, that goes back to the man, that goes to the letter, the ship, the bear, the whip, the woman, the scythe, the stars, the clouds, the house, the tower, the rider, the lilies, the fish, and then back to the bouquet. So again, it's foreign policy for personal profit, quid pro quo, but it's not quid pro quo in regards to the election, because the election's over here. These chains that I keep going over and over again, it has to do with the theme that I keep noticing over and over again, with the exception of the key and the garden. Everything else that we've followed the chain around, from the man, the bear, the dog, the woman, the rider, the child, the fish, the letter, and now to the bouquet, they're all following the same chain. It's quid pro quo, but it's quid pro quo for personal profit. Nothing to do with the elections. Bribery. That's it. Bribery, 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 plain and simple. And that's what's putting a damper on the administration. Perhaps the family and the properties themselves as well are in a lot of trouble, because you have the clouds back in the house of the house. That's a family that's in a crap ton of trouble. That could be properties that are in a crap ton of trouble. It's got the coffin right next to it. That could be properties that get shut down, you know? So it looks like, and this could be a cloud over the family, a cloud over the administration, a cloud over the properties, a storm brewing around everything that has to do with his properties here, and perhaps co-signers and co-owners of his properties here, that are going to be causing him a crap ton of trouble. And it looks like down this row here, we have the mice. Okay, mice is anxiety, worry, fear, corruption, erosion, something that's expired, something that eats away, thievery. Okay, it looks like he's more concerned, more worried about the contracts that he has with, perhaps these are co-signers for his properties and his businesses, his you know, with the house knighting over here to the fish, and the house knighting over here to the bouquet. It looks like he's more worried about this coming out than he is anything else. Okay, and mostly because not only of the exposure of who's co-signing and who he's in agreement with and who he has perhaps written contracts with, and who he's playing games with, quid pro quo, give me something in exchange for another thing. So like funnel money through my properties, keep me propped up, and all in exchange write foreign policy in your favor. Not only because of that, but because it looks like the properties themselves may be in serious, serious, serious trouble. And finally, let's go ahead and follow this coffin around. So the coffin goes to the garden, that goes to the crossroads, that goes to the mice, that goes to the sun, that goes to the heart, the birds, the anchor, the key, and then back to the coffin. So there's going to be a serious ending here in regards to where he is in the public, within the community, perhaps the world stage, because the garden is a very, 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 very large group of people. It's a huge party. So this could be his organizations, this could be Trump organizations, this could be his rallies, this could be the country, because the ship is right over it. This could be international, where he is on the world stage. And the amount of corruption that's going to be discovered is just going to end him. It's going to end him. And perhaps that's why he's going to try to argue and fight so passionately here. It's like he's committed to fighting. He's going to stick it out and fight here. He's going to fight it out here, you know, because if all of this comes to light here with the sun right in line with the garden here, it destroys him. It absolutely destroys him. Like, he's done, you know. So I hope this video wasn't too long for you guys. I know I've been kind of bouncing around all over the place. You know what I didn't follow around? I didn't follow the house. Give me a second. Okay, so I followed the house around. I had to write it down on my notebook because, you know, these chains. So the house goes to the tower, that goes back to the writer, that goes back to the lilies, the fish, the bouquet, the ring, the man, the letter, the ship, the bear, the whip, the woman, the scythe, the stars, the clouds, and then back to the house. So you guys see here, the chains keep repeating over and over and over again. And the theme is profiting off of the presidency, briberies, and abuse of power. With the bear and the whip, it's always the same in every chain that we have followed, with the exception, I think it was the garden and the key and the book and the fox were the only ones that didn't have that same chain. But they're all following the same chain: abuse of power, bribery, personal enrichment, and a cloud over the White House. And like I said, November, December, okay? This could be an end to his career in the presidency, or shutting down the government as a way to try to delay even further. Because this guy has the mentality of a amoeba. I'm sorry. I'm not even going to compare him to a child, because I have nephews that are smarter than him, and they're like 3 and 4 years old. Okay. So, you know, it's that childish mentality, or that, I'm sorry, I don't want to offend children. The mentality of a freaking single-celled amoeba, which again is an insult to amoebas, because at least they serve a purpose, you know. But, you know, it's that mentality that, you know, if I stick my head in the sand and I put a stop to it, I can just continue doing this, and, you know, but it hurts communities, it hurts the country. So again, with the corners, just to wrap it up here, he's in some significant, there's huge amounts of evidence, enough to end him, that shows his guilt, but he may be offered something, perhaps some sort of forgiveness here, or some sort of a pardon. The vote here, even though it looks like there's an ending in December, the vote here doesn't look favorable, because we have around here the Senate voting. Yeah, it looks like it's good this way. You know, the Senate vote is successful, but look at this. A decision that's going to be very, 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 very difficult. A decision that brings a lot of nervousness because of the amount of evidence of guilt. Okay. And the theme is betrayal. Huge amounts of betrayal. violations to the Constitution, emoluments clauses, briberies, blah, blah, blah. I mean, the list is endless. If he's risking and going to take a gamble that he has a good opportunity here to make it past the Senate and the Senate is going to vote in his favor, if we look around this little box, this would be the vote that the Senate makes, okay? Secret vote is burdensome. A secret vote, guilty. A secret vote, punishment. A secret vote that puts on trial, okay? Separating, news of a separation. Foreign election interference here brings a lot of nervousness. This is news of a really difficult, burdensome, anxious decision. I have no sympathies for the GOP. They've chained themselves to this man. You can go down with the ship too. But if he's thinking that this is going to prove good for him, you have in this box, you have one neutral, one neutral, one neutral. That's 3 neutrals, okay? You have one positive, one positive. That's 2 positives. And here you have 1, 2, 3 negatives, okay? They rule against him. They rule against him. Even though it's showing here an ending, he doesn't, I don't think he makes it past December based on this tableau. I mean, it looks like the end comes in December based on his original grand tableau, and the actual like leave perhaps happens sometime in January. Because this is a separation in January, okay? So if he's banking on it, he's a fool. I don't know why his name is Trump. It should just be fool, you know? But as he moves forward in time, he's going to be facing serious legal issues. He's not going to get off the hook. If this is Pence up here that offers him a pardon, he's still rolling into serious trouble here. Junior's going to be in trouble. Kushner's going to be in trouble. Junior is linked to, what's his face up there? Giuliani, through a phone call of some sort or a meeting that he had with him. Even though he's going to try to distance himself from it, there's evidence Giuliani is going to flip and betray them. Also, Giuliani is over him. Okay, so Junior has no control over what Giuliani's doing. What's his face? Kushner heading into a world of trouble. Trump, as time moves forward, litigation. He's going to be litigating till the day he steps foot in the grave for thievery, corruption, stealing. He's going to be put on trial. It's just bad. Okay. If the bouquet would have been over here, it wouldn't have been so bad, but no, he's kaput. So I'm going to close that off here. I don't even know. We're way over an hour. Oh, and also central to the reading, no love, whatever obstacles and delays and obstructions, those get cleared up. Okay. So I may bring this up again later on, maybe in January, February, whatever, because the timeline was from November 2019 through July 2020. So it's all here. I just, there's no way I can get everything. So we will see. We will see. Because I didn't do this little box here. I didn't do that little box up there. There's still a lot to go through, but I'll probably bring it up again. I have it on my notes. Okay, so thank you so much for being with me. If you have any questions, please let me know down in the comment section down below. If you're not familiar with the original grand tableaus that I did on Donald Trump, please feel free to seek those out on my channel. Also, if you're curious about Kushner, yes, I've gotten questions about that. Yes, he is linked to Khashoggi's ending. That shows up in his grand tableau. Please go back and revisit that. And I know that there was a lot to digest here, so I hope it wasn't too much. Okay, I'll see you guys on my next one. Bye.